Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews Now Too, and today we're going to take a look at the ASRock AB350M. Okay, so this is the ASRock AB350M micro ATX motherboard from ASRock with the AMD B350 chipset. So let's have a look and see what we get inside the box. Now this motherboard is suitable for system builders for AM4. It's a very cost-effective unit. You're looking around about £60, so that equates to, I don't know, maybe about $70. You can get rebates from various suppliers. Amazon also have some warehouse deals on this, as low as £50 I've noticed. But you can check out the prices or current prices in the links from the description below. Also, this is a really good motherboard, especially now with the Raven Ridge and Bristol Ridge APUs that are out. So you can build a really cost-effective entry-level gaming machine with the possibility of upgrading to an 8-core, 16-thread monster with a 1080 Ti or whatever it is when the graphics cards come down to a sensible price. But at the moment, if you use this with an APU, you can use this as a kind of placeholder, so you can actually start playing games now while the prices are ridiculous, and when the prices come back down, which hopefully they will do, you can add a graphics card in and more memory or a different CPU at a later date. So anyway, sorry, let's carry on. So you get your user manual and also the driver CD, which if you've got a CD drive these days, I don't think many do, so that probably won't be much use. There's a tiny little screw there, which I believe is for the M.2 hard drive, which can be installed on the back of the motherboard. You get an I/O plate, which unfortunately is in that sort of chrome silver, which you'd have thought these days they could at least done that powder coated or produced it with a black paint on it, but still, at least there's one in the box. And also comes with two, I believe, two SATA cables, which are designed for SATA 3, 6 gigabits per second. So it's nice to have a couple of those in the box. So there we go, that's the board itself. And let's have a quick tour around the board. So top left we'll start with, you've got heat sinks with the VRMs, which is a really good addition. So overclocking is going to be a possibility with this board. So if you've got the sort of the Ryzen the 2200G chip or the 2400G, if you want to overclock them, then you should have quite a bit of luck with that, especially with the coolers on the VRMs. So 8-pin power connector on the top, so again another sort of nod to the direction of overclocking with the extra CPU power available. All around the board you've got solid capacitors, which is a good sign, and you've got the AMD, the old style AM4 retention clips, which can be removed if you're using the out of the box stock cooler with the Ryzen chips. In the middle there you've got your AM4 socket with its zero insertion force design. So just undo the lever, put the CPU in, push the lever down, put your CPU cooler on, and you're good to go. Unfortunately on this board, only 2 DIMM slots, so although the APUs run best in dual channel mode, whether or not you go for an 8 gig over 2 4 gig sticks, or whether you go for a single 8 and then upgrade to another 8 at a later date when the RAM prices go down, or maybe even just put a single 8 gig in and then get some 216s when the price really does bottom out. So further around there's a CPU fan header there. Going down the side you've got your 24-pin power connector for main power, USB 3 header port, a additional front USB 2 port, and next to that another USB 2 header port, so 2 really close together there. You can just make out there you've got 4 SATA 6 gigabit connections, which I believe you can also use in various RAID configurations, so I'd imagine that would be RAID 0, RAID 1 and RAID 10. Moving around further still, at the bottom you've got your header connections for your front panel, so you reset, power button, LEDs, that kind of thing. At the bottom, you've got your heatsink for the north bridge, or south bridge, or whichever bridge it is. Chassis fan header on the bottom, so if you've got additional fans at the front, they're quite easy to wire up that. A COM port, should you ever need one for serial ports. A trusted computing platform module header. Next to that, you've got the Rgb LED connection, which is all important for these modern builds with Rgb. And speaking of which, you've also got an Rgb header at the top here. So if you're using an AMD Wraith cooler with the Rgb ring, you can plug the Rgb header into there. So there's two Rgb headers, so you can have a full Rgb setup. You could even run that to a splitter to enable even more Rgb. Clear Cmos is at the bottom there, so the jumper for clearing the Cmos settings. So if you go for some crazy overclocking and it just refuses to boot no matter what, just reset the jumper and then you can go back to the factory defaults. Over here on this side, you've got the ELNA audio. So you've got great capacitors on there which will reduce the noise in audio, so you get not quite audiophile quality, but pretty damn close. Just behind there is the HD audio connector for the front panel. So not the greatest of places, would have preferred to have seen it down the bottom so you don't have to have the cable stretched around or around the back, but still, it is what it is. So moving around onto the side, you've got the legacy keyboard and mouse ports, 2 USB 2.0, 6 USB 3.0, a gigabit LAN, and your microphone, earphone and line jack supports. Moving around onto the back, you've got your support for the CPU cooler. I was looking for the M.2 slot, but there it is. Completely missed it. Ultra M.2 and the screw that comes in the box. You've got two screws so you can, for the different sizes of drives which are available. So anyway, that's been a brief overview of the ASRock AB350M. I'm really looking forward to building with this. I've got a Ryzen 2200G APU, which I'm going to be putting in here along with 16 gigs of really cheap, nasty RAM, and put it into a really nice little Cooler Master Q300 case. And we're going to do ourselves a little budget build and see how we get on and see how little money we can spend to get ourselves up and running with a little gaming PC. So this has been the ASRock board. I've been Mike. This is Mike's unboxing reviews and how to. If there's any questions or comments, put them in the section below, and we'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.